Yes, ladies and gentlemen, episode 117 of Pokemon Horizons titled Pop Quiz, What Does Ult's Training Involve just dropped, and in this episode, Lacey and Ult battle to see if she is allowed to train him. How does it go? Let's talk about it. The episode revolves around Ult and Lacey's training saga. Lacey says Ult can get stronger by studying with her, but Ult refuses, saying that he will get stronger training alone. So she challenges him to a battle, saying that if she wins, he will have to listen to her. The battle is a one-on-one between Ult Sableye and Lacey's Excadrill. It's also a half quiz, half battle type battle. Lacey quizzes him about type matchups when Ult is attacking, telling him why his moves aren't doing much damage. She then asks him about Excadrill's special ability with its claws, which is the ability to dig, before using the move on Sableye. And finally, she asks about Excadrill's Terra type before terrestrializing her Excadrill into a Fairy type, which is super effective against Sableye. A single Terra Blast and it's over. Lacey wins. So, since he lost, Ult agrees to study with her. So what does Lacey do to make him stronger? Quiz him, of course. She asks him first where Pikachu gets its electricity from. This leads to him investigating Captain Pikachu and eventually eating a Thunderbolt for it. Why is she having him doing that? It teaches him how to be more observant. As this is happening, by the way, we see Roy doing Drayton's training. Drayton is having Roy pretend to be a slowpoke to slow himself down. It's pretty funny. Meanwhile, Liko is back in Briar's office. Briar called her there to talk more about Terapagos, and Briar asked questions like, what does Terapagos like eating? And what's his behavior like? They're super basic questions, but she says she's trying to figure out the basics of Terapagos to help her learn more about it. While that's happening, we get to see some really fun interaction here between Dot and Carmine. Carmine is annoyed that Briar is interacting with Liko so much, despite she being her #1 assistant. And later on, when Briar is locked in, Carmine thinks that she's the #1 assistant and understands exactly what Briar wants when she's locked in. But it turns out, it's actually Liko who does it better. Carmine's frustrated about it when all of a sudden, Gimmighoul comes up to her and controls her to find it a coin. When she eventually snaps out of it, she chases it out of the room. Then later, she and Dot look for it together as Carmine feels bad for yelling at it and chasing it away. Eventually, they're able to find its coins and use it to track down Gimmighoul. Carmine learns from Dot that Gimmighoul is trying to turn into a Goldingo, so Carmine says that she will help Dot train by battling against her. The two then battle each other. It's a one-on-one battle. Carmine uses Sinistcha and Dot uses her Gimmighoul. And it's a Metapod versus Metapod style battle. Both Pokemon keep using Astonish on each other over and over and over again. The reason Carmine later says she was happy to train with Dot, she looks like her brother. A Kieran mention, oh my goodness. Going back to Lacey and Ult, Ult keeps getting questions wrong. He questions how this is supposed to make him stronger, and Lacey says she's just trying to get him to understand Pokemon first. She then brings out her Pulso and Minun and asks him what else can their electricity do. Ult doesn't know this, but that's when Drayton shows up, and he shows that they can be a way to do massages. Lacey asks him if he's actually training Roy or not, and he doesn't really answer before flying away in his Dragonite. Ult sees that Drayton is close with his Dragonite, and this becomes the main focus of the episode moving forward. Ult says that he wants to be friends with this Dragonite, but it doesn't come out of its ball. And that's when Dragonite does come out of its ball, when he says he wants to be friends with it. Him and Lacey sit down and discuss. Ult explains to Lacey that Dragonite only comes out when he's fighting for someone else. We learn more about Ult's Dragonite. It was given to him by his father, and when Lacey asks him why he wants to get stronger, Ult tries to go around it saying that he wants to become the strongest just to be the greatest. But Dragonite and Lacey don't like that answer, and Lacey says that he needs to be honest with himself and his Pokemon. So that's when he reveals the truth. He wants to be stronger because he couldn't do anything against the 6 hero Pokemon. Lacey points out that just the fact that he wants to fight for someone else is a sign that he is fighting for others. She then asks Ult what he wants to do with Dragonite, and that's when an Alolan Exeggutor comes up and chases them as they're in its territory. Lacey uses this as a training for Ult by telling him to pay attention, and this time Ult does, as he observes what Exeggutor is doing first. He notices that Alolan Exeggutor gets dizzy after an attack, so he waits to get it dizzy before having Dragonite counterattack. A single Dragon Rush is enough to KO it. Afterwards, Dragonite picks him up as Lacey explains that it also wanted to battle with Ult. Ult realizes that he had been losing sight of Dragonite by focusing too much on his dad, and he says he looks forward to battling more often together. The episode ends with Ult sheepishly thanking Lacey for her training because it kinda helped, and that is the end of the episode. This is a really fun episode. We get battles, we get fun character interactions, and a continuing overarching story to move the plot forward. Lacey is one of the best characters we've gotten in this series in a while. She comes off very sincere while being strong, and her being the main trainer for someone like Ult really fits. And Ult himself is coming off more and more likable as he breaks down more of his barriers. We saw that his father gave him Dragonite in the past, but we still don't know much about his father and why he gave him the ball, and why he was homeless in Lumiose. At least now that we know that his father wanted him to use the Dragonite to about fight for others, and I hope we learn more about his father in the future. Roy doing slowpoke training is a fun side plot. It feels a lot less significant than Ult's, but still, maybe it's because Roy already has had a bunch of development, and hopefully they can take this training somewhere in the future. Although from the summary of the episodes we've gotten in the future, I don't know how true that will be. I also really enjoy the interaction between Carmine and Dot here. I didn't think Kieran's existence would be acknowledged, but it was, which was surprising. And I know lots of people want him to get involved, but this show already has picked who they wanted to be involved in the story, so don't expect Kieran or Arvin to be involved at all. With the next episode focusing on Liko, it looks like everyone will have moments of growth throughout this arc, and all of this is leading to whatever Briar finds out about Terapagos that will move the plot forward about the explorers. Whatever it is, I can't wait. But what about you guys? What did you guys think about this episode? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video, hype this video on mobile, subscribe for more. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.